Every empire begins with a whisper of defiance. What if the boldest move of your career happened not in a boardroom but in a fluorescent cubicle at 22? Picture a fresh-faced intern clutching a crumpled printout, heart hammering against a name badge still shiny with possibility. Now picture that same soul, years later, signing contracts that reshape industries, all because she once said no to the wrong yes. Tonight, we witness the electric rebellion of Ava Chen, who discovered that courage at the bottom of the org chart can topple the entire tower. Ava landed the internship at Nexus Media through sheer stubbornness. 300 applicants, one spot, a recommendation letter forged from late-night study sessions, and sheer audacity. The firm was legendary. Sleek offices overlooking the river, campaigns that went viral before breakfast. Ava's role: fetch coffee, format spreadsheets, disappear into the background. She arrived on day one with a notebook thick with ideas and a promise to herself. Observe for 30 days, then speak. The city skyline glittered like a dare. Week one was worship. Ava shadowed creative directors who spoke in metaphors and million-dollar budgets. She memorized their rhythms, how they paused before brilliance, how they dismissed anything safe. Her assigned mentor, Marcus Hale, was a vice president with a reputation for mentoring prodigies and breaking the rest. He assigned Ava a task: compile competitor analysis for the annual pitch to a streaming giant. "Make it pretty," he said. "Don't think, just collate." Ava nodded, but the notebook burned in her bag. Nights blurred into research. Ava dissected every campaign the competitors had ever run. Engagement curves, sentiment spikes, the quiet genius buried in failed pilots. She saw a pattern no one else had. The audience wasn't craving polish. They craved confession, raw, unfiltered stories from creators who looked like the viewers. She built a deck, 40 slides of data married to heart. The final slide read, "Stop selling perfection, start selling permission." She rehearsed in the mirror until her reflection believed her. Day 30 arrived. The pitch meeting loomed like Judgment Day. Marcus summoned the interns to a war room at dawn. "Your job," he said, "is to print my deck and stay quiet." He slid over a USB drive. Ava plugged it in. The presentation was safe, glossy, focus-grouped, forgettable. It ignored every insight she'd unearthed. Her pulse thundered. She raised her hand. Marcus's eyebrow arched like a guillotine. "Yes, intern?" Ava's voice cracked, then steadied. "This will lose." The room froze. A senior designer coughed. Marcus smiled the way predators smile. "Explain." Ava opened her laptop. 40 slides bloomed across the screen. Data, testimonials, a mock campaign featuring real users telling messy truths. The room leaned in despite themselves. When she finished, silence stretched like a tightrope. Marcus closed his laptop. "Cute," he said. "Print mine. We pitch in 2 hours." Ava's legs trembled beneath the table. She saw her future flash. Quiet compliance, slow erosion, the death of every idea she'd ever loved. She stood. "I won't." Gasps ricocheted. Marcus's face darkened. "You're an intern. You don't get to won't." Ava met his eyes. "Then fire me. But I won't put my name on something I know is wrong." Security escorted her out before lunch, her badge deactivated mid-sentence. Colleagues avoided eye contact in the elevator. Ava stepped into the sunlight clutching a cardboard tube of her deck and a single post-it from a junior copywriter. "You just became legend." She expected devastation, felt only electricity. That afternoon, Ava uploaded her deck to a private link and emailed it to every creator she'd quoted, 15 micro-influencers with loyal niches. The subject line, "This is what the big agencies won't tell you." Within hours, replies flooded, fire emojis, voice notes, offers to collaborate. One creator, a comedy filmmaker with 2 million subscribers, DM'd, "This is the campaign I've been waiting my whole career for. Let's build it ourselves." Ava stared at her cracked phone screen. The internship was ash. Opportunity was oxygen. She met the filmmaker Jalen in a diner that smelled of burnt coffee and ambition. Over cold fries, they sketched a counter pitch. Same budget, half the polish, triple the soul. Jalen fronted the production. Ava ran numbers like a conductor. They launched a teaser on TikTok at midnight. By morning, it had 1 million views. Brands noticed, not Nexus, their clients. 3 mid-tier streaming services slid into DMs. Ava negotiated her first contract at 22, terms drafted on a napkin. Marcus called 3 days later. Voicemail dripping charm. Misunderstanding. Come back. We'll credit your ideas. Ava let it play on speaker while Jalen filmed her reaction for the behind-the-scenes reel. She didn't return the call. Instead, she registered Confess Media, a studio that only greenlit campaigns built on truth. Their first client paid triple Nexus's rate. Ava hired the junior copywriter who'd left the Post-it, then the designer who'd coughed in the meeting, then every intern who'd ever been told to stay quiet. By 24, Confess Media was profitable. Ava's office had no hierarchy, just a round table where the newest intern sat beside the CFO. They won the streaming giant account, the very pitch that had fired her. The client revealed they'd seen her viral deck months earlier. We waited, they said, to see if the agency would wake up. They didn't. You did. Marcus was demoted to consultant. His LinkedIn update read, Exploring New Opportunities. At 25, Ava returned to Nexus, not as employee, but keynote speaker at their annual retreat. The room was the same war room, but the faces were younger, hungrier. She opened with the cardboard tube, now framed behind her desk. I was fired for insubordination, she said. Best day of my life. She told them about the Post-it, the diner, the napkin contract. She showed the revenue slide, 8 figures, 0 investors. A hand shot up, an intern, badge still shiny. What if they fire me for speaking up? Ava smiled the way lightning smiles. Then you'll finally be free. The speech ended in standing ovation. Marcus watched from the back, arms crossed, face unreadable. Afterward, he approached. I was wrong, he said. Ava extended her hand. No, you were the spark. She didn't offer partnership. She offered forgiveness and a job application for Confess Media. He didn't fill it out. At 27, Ava's company went public. The IPO bell rang at the exchange where she'd once fetched coffee for executives. She wore the same blazer from her internship, now tailored, the elbow patches a reminder. Her speech to the traders was one sentence. Fortune favors the fired. That night, Ava hosted a party for every employee who'd ever been dismissed for daring. The invitation read, Bring your termination letter, we'll frame it. The walls filled with pink slips turned art. One framed email stood out. Marcus's original You're an Intern rant, now captioned, The Day the Hierarchy Cracked. Here's the blueprint etched in Ava's defiance. 1. Trust your data when it contradicts the room. Preparation is permission. 2. Say no with evidence, not emotion. A deck beats a tantrum. 3. Build your escape hatch before you need it. Side projects, networks, proof of concept. 4. Turn every exit interview into an entrance interview for your own venture. 5. Hire the quiet ones who watched you burn and still took notes. They're your future. The greatest power in an entry-level role is not access. It's anonymity. No one expects revolution from the coffee runner. That's why your first no can rewrite the org chart. Ava Chen now signs paychecks for people who once signed hers. Her corner office has no corners, just windows facing the river where she once cried over a deactivated badge. Every new hire receives a blank Post-it on day 1. Write the idea that could get you fired, she says, then we'll build it together. The question is no longer, what if I'm fired? The question is, what will I refuse to compromise today?